Good afternoon, Jessica.
Hello.
How are you doing this day?
I'm doing well. Just getting ready for a new snowstorm that's coming in.
Yes! These storms of snow have been a very large event in your country this year.
I think the Earth is very mad at us.
The Earth consciousness and the way that it perceives you does not perceive you in perhaps what you would believe to be negative or positive light, but what it is very reflective of the energy that each entity is giving. So let us suggest that during this time, as many humans are releasing a great amount of their old belief systems and a great amount of negativity, the Earth is receiving this energy. It is connected to each entity that lives upon the planet, so as there are more than 6 billion human entities releasing their old beliefs of negativity as well as their old energy of negative nature, the Earth takes this in. And it must release this energy in its own way, and this is the production of weather.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is very interesting. I know that you have many non-weather related questions that you wish to ask, so whenever you are ready to begin, you may.
Okay. If it's all right, can I just make sure that the knowledge that I have so far from seeing the things that you've done, can I go through a few things to just make sure I'm on the right page?
Yes!
Okay. All right, here goes. From what I understand, there are 7 species of extraterrestrial, and of those species, there are about 5 that are hybridized, so it's more like there's 12 that are inside of our DNA.
Yes! This is
Okay.
very true.
All right, so I got one right. There are also type 1 and type 2 entities.
Yes! In
Okay.
the higher density, in the densities that you look to be as third, second, and first, there is not a type 1 and type 2. These entities are based in a system of polarity, so they are both of these.
Okay. So our DNA possesses traces of these alien species, and they can be evident in the like Rh factors and blood type. So, like for instance, if you're Rh negative, it means that you might have some Anunnaki genes.
Yes!
Okay, so I'm 3 for 3.
Yes! A very
Now,
high percentage.
okay, now Anunnaki themselves are a hybridized race of reptilian and Pleaidian.
Yes!
Okay, so again, I was right. So we are currently where I am right now. We're in a third density, and there are other life forms that are in the second and first density, where like the animals and plants are second, and then first density or rock, soil, things like that.
Yes!
Okay. And then there are fourth density entities that are manifested into third density bodies.
Yes! As
And
well as fifth and sixth entities. These
okay.
entities are able to manifest into your third density reality.
Okay. And then there are other higher entities that have also reincarnated into third density bodies, or is that the same as manifesting?
This is not the same as manifesting. Manifesting is breaking apart a piece of consciousness while their own fifth and sixth and fourth density bodies remain within their physical existence. The incarnation into humanity is quite different. After they are done with the physical cycle, they will manifest into the physical reality and have an entire existence.
Okay. All right. So now, without going into specifics about myself and my experiences and my time here in my life, is it possible to channel my energy and basically, can you tell me what I am?
Yes!
All
Um,
right.
if it is possible to connect to your energy with your permission, this would assist me more greatly in this.
Sure.
Um, if you are able to close the physical eyes, if you are able to push out the energy with your intent to connect to mine and make it from the center of the physical body outside of the physical and continuously pushing this outward.
Sounds good.
In one moment, I will connect. Yes! Within your own energy, there is one that tends to be very prevalent within you. This is what you would call the Syrian energy. And the Syrian energy that you have is very deeply connected to you. But this is not what you would say where you are from, as you have lived many Earth incarnations. So you are a portion of the human collective consciousness. But the reason that the energy is standing out so strongly from the Syrian energy is that at the energy and the way that you are now, it is very probable to connect into your own future as an incarnative entity of this specific race.
Okay. Now, so Syrian. Now, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. Now, getting into like genetics and DNA and things like that, does that mean that I have Syrian DNA? Or
yes.
okay.
All physical humans have a portion of Syrian DNA. What you have in Syrian energy that differs from many entities upon the earth is a Syrian energetic signature within the overall energy that you are. The fractal that you are is highly compatible and highly parallel to the specific signature of energy that the Syrian entities carry.
Now, is that different than what, like, say, someone else you would channel?
Yes! If I connect to an entity and I am able to perceive the entire energetic signature, not all entities that I have spoken to have been Syrian. There has been many entities, reptilian entities, ancient reptilian entities. There has been Arcturian entities, Pleiadian entities, all of these.
Now, when you speak to a human, though, what is the majority of the energy that you get? Am I like a...
Literally, each entity that I connect to is quite different. Even if there are two that carry Pleiadian energy, one will be that of a feminine nature, one can be a Pleiadian entity who resides upon a separate star. The idea of Pleiadian or Syrian or Arcturian or any of these labels is that they are all considered blanket terms. They are all terminologies for one star system or one star area and all of the planets and densities in which it holds.
Okay. Are you familiar with the situations here on Earth with cancer and autism?
Yes.
Okay. I have a theory that autism and cancer, not the type of cancers that you bring upon yourself from, say, smoking or not eating correctly, but more rare type of cancers. I have a theory that it's because that there's something in the DNA that perhaps is not compatible with the way that the body's makeup is currently, and as a result, it creates these type of rare type of cancers. Am I on a path with that or no?
Yes. If you look at the physical reaction of the human body, this is true. That there are many portions of the DNA energetically that do not mesh well with the physical makeup of the human entity. But let us express that all diseases in all areas are not truly physical in nature. They are from emotional imbalances of a non-physical that manifest themselves outwardly into a physical.
Okay,
so
now,
even if this entity gets a cancer that is from the DNA that does not resonate with the physical body, it still must be activated by a non-physical emotional imbalance.
okay, now getting into personal stuff now. I was when I was a child, I actually was diagnosed with a very, very, very rare cancer. And I can't find how someone who's innocent would have a type of emotional manifestation to create that.
Yes! In the way that you look at emotional manifestation, in the idea of children and their own sickness, this is not always caused by the emotional idea. The majority of entities who become ill are given this very specific concept of emotional, from non-physical to physical, but there are many entities who go into your incarnation system with an agreement that is made. Let us use an example. The host's son is having a condition that is called cerebral palsy, and this entity has chosen this existence so that he may experience what it is to have a limitation of physicality and communication. He is able to express his emotional self only, and this is the interaction that he wishes to have, as it has been done in previous existences for him. This is the very same with very young children, but remembering that even at the ages of 4 and 5 and 6 years old, there is much vibrational learning that has been done from this point. Even if you are connected to an adult entity and you do not have your own mind path and your own imbalances, there is still what you would call vibrational learning. This vibrational learning is literally all that surrounds you. Their fears, their worries, their excitements, their happinesses are vibrationally teaching the entity. And sometimes in the ages, approximately 3 and older, begin to vibrationally learn. So entities in this area that become sick, it is because they are receiving vibrational cues from the adults.
That's interesting. Now, one other question. Are you familiar with like the unlocking of genes or dormant genes within DNA that awaken?
Are you speaking of the idea of the activative state of DNA?
Like a metagene?
I am not sure in what word this is, but if you wish to express or explain on this idea, perhaps I will connect better to the concept.
Okay, so I'm wondering if there are areas within our DNA that need to be awakened or are in the process of being awakened.
Yes! All of the DNA, that all entities that are human are literally now becoming more activated. As you see a specific entity in a third to fourth density transference, as you are, literally all of the energy that is coming from the essential energy of the middle of the galaxy, as well as all substantive energies from the galactic collective consciousness as well as the solar system collective consciousness begin to integrate. And as these entities become more sensitive and aware to their own energy, the crown chakra opens larger and more consciousness is brought into their physical existence. And when this consciousness begins to flow into the physical body, it begins to activate the specific characteristics of the DNA. And this is why you have found that autism in the last 10 years is much greater in number than it is previously before this time. This is one of the side effects of the DNA that is becoming more activated.
It's funny, my son is autistic, and I've always thought of that. He's adopted too, so it can't be something that I could have passed on. So it's interesting that you say that because his mind can do things that I can only wish for.
Yes! And this greatness of ability within these entities is very much considered a gift. Many entities upon your planet look at this as if it is a illness or a disease, but in the way that it is very gifted. This is an indication that your race is growing.
Yeah, it's absolutely, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Now, one other, just more like a statement. Maybe you can help bring some information to me. You say that I have an energy that exhibits Sirius. I've always felt since I was a kid, and more so now, especially after my whole cancer ordeal and my interpersonal relationships with family and friends and just society, I've always felt that I just never belonged here. I always felt like, I don't know if you know the term march to the beat of a different drum. Is that something, can you tell me something about that?
Yes! In this specific time period, this is why many entities have chosen to incarnate in this specific time period. In the area of the 2012 is where the scale begins to tip in the opposite direction as it once previous was. This is a very great and exciting time. This is why many of you have chosen to incarnate here, within your own self specifically, as there is parallels with many humans. The feeling that you do not belong is because your awareness level. There is an awareness on a subconscious level for those who are willing to look inside themselves that often feels as if they are not in place here. It is because they are coming from an area of understanding. The higher self, the higher fractalized version of your own self, understands the natural order of the Oversoul, and the way that you experience your existence upon this planet is not in a natural setting. It is not connection and love, it is quite the opposite. So in this feeling, many of you begin to feel either homesick or begin to feel as if you do not belong in this area. This is yourself resonating more with the fractals that are not within polarity. This is why the Syrian energy is so prevalent in you, because you are connecting to the fractals that are Syrian, because those tend to resonate more than your existence now. This is why this feeling is so strong.
That's interesting. Now, can you tell me something about Syrians?
There are many types of Syrian entities. The one specifically that you are connected to is the fifth density, humanized version, the one who is on the same plane or level of existence. These are fifth density entities that look very human. These entities are what perhaps you would call a light being. In their own appearance and in their own environment, they tend to be very physical, such as I am, but in your own perception, they would be complete light beings.
Interesting. And do they have any type of goal or like focus in terms of
Yes!
like job duty? Like I don't want to use the word job, but in terms of function and what they focus on.
Yes! These entities are much as our own race is. They are very oriented in the way of what resonates with them. Whatever excites them is what they do, but they are also connected to the sense of duty, perhaps, as you would see a duty. When they wish to invest themselves into an excitement, they are giving all of themselves that is possible. They are giving 100% of themselves, and Syrians especially are very serious without the pun becoming intended. They are very focused in on what they are excited of, and it tends to resonate with them very strongly to incorporate more excitements within them.
And then one more question. So I primarily exude serious. Is there any type of reptilian in there? Because that's something that, aside from not feeling like I fit in, I also resonate very much with winged draconian dragon type of thing. Is there anything like that? Like
Yes!
hybridization in there?
Yes! The energy that you carry as a human being is also having the entities that you would know as the ancient reptilians or the alpha draconian entities. Theirs is also a portion of the DNA, so this portion resonates, but also within your own higher self, there are many fractals that are an alpha draco nature or an ancient reptilian nature. And within these, there tends to be some hesitance within the connecting to this because your existence now, you wish to connect more to your heart and to your knowledge center. And not wishing to connect to disconnection, but there is still a very small fraction of the Alpha Draco entities that are of a Type 1 nature. And there is one specific entity in your specific connection to the higher self that is of a Type 1 Alpha Draco entity.
Oh, that's interesting. So always go with your gut feeling, I guess, is the way to say it.
Yes!
It's just a shame that the Alpha Draconians are peaceful, correct? Like they're I don't want to use the term good, but they're not something to be feared.
Within the idea of Alpha Draconian, a very small percentage of them is what you would call benevolent, but there are many of them that are malevolent. The entities that tend to be more relaxed in their concepts, although they are of a Type 2 entity, many of them are of a Type 2 nature, are the entities that you would call a 50% hybrid from the Alpha Draconian and your Saurian entities, your dinosaur entities, and these are the entities that are native to your planet. These reptilians are still a portion of Alpha Draconian, but also a portion of Earth. These entities are less malevolent, they are less restrictive, and there is also groups of them that have been a Type 1 entity as well.
And what is a Type 1 entity again?
A Type 1 entity is that of the nature that will not infringe upon the free will of others. They will accept all things, all views. They have a very neutral mindset. They also do not look only below them, such as a Type 2 would only look at the entities in which it is larger than, that perhaps they can control or manipulate, but they also look above themselves so that they may gain inspiration and knowledge. These are some of the factors of difference between Type 1 and Type 2, but a Type 2 is such a great spectrum of energy from those who are loving, but perhaps slightly affect your free will, to the ones that are very dominant and malevolent, and everything in between.
So my gut feeling of Syrian and Alpha Draconian Type 1 are a very interesting combination, that one kind of counteracts the other to make everything balanced.
Yes, this is a very great way to see this.
Now, if I could only manifest myself to look like what I feel internally, it would be great. But I guess you can't do that in this in the way that things are.
There is a possibility for you to experience that portion of you because you are aware that this is possible, because you resonate very strongly with these entities. There is a way to experience this, even though your level of consciousness at the humanity version or humanity state does not appear to be strong enough to experience this. This is not true as well. There is always a way to experience entities above yourself. The greatest ways in sleep state and astral projected state. But the concept that many humans have a very difficult time integrating is that the belief that dreams are not a true reality, that they are not a physical but semi-physical existence.
And I've actually dreamt of an winged Alpha Draconian type of thing as myself in a dream before.
Yes, and this was manifested so that you may experience this excitement. This is yourself in an astral body, being able to live in your excitement.
That's really wild.
Yes.
And then one last question, and then I'll let you go. As the Earth itself moves into a fourth and I guess fifth density, right? Is that where we're going?
The idea is that you are going from third density to fourth density, but you are going from fourth dimensional to fifth dimensional. This is what confusion is with many humans.
Yeah. Now, when that happens, could the real me of the energies that I have, would I be what I am, or would I still look human? I feel so silly asking this.
Yes, this is not silly at all. There are many ideas and conceptions of what the essential energy is able to do. You will appear to be the same as you are now, physically, but in the idea of your excitements of being a specific look in your own humanity, in your own fractal human version, you will be able to change your looks more quickly. Let us express an example. The entity that is known as the host, this entity is able to lose weight and to gain weight, but in the fourth density setting, when he becomes more integrated, this will take a much less time. It will be able to lose weight that normally would have to take approximately 5 to 8 months and be able to do it within a matter of weeks. But this portion of the fourth density consciousness is still a bit of the ways away for many humans, but the idea is that each human is able to experience this shift as quickly or as slowly as they wish.
Interesting. Very good. Well, I've learned a lot.
Yes!
Thank you.
I have learned a great deal as well.
Now I'll flip the table around. Are there any questions you'd like to ask me?
Yes! If it is possible to ask one question for
Sure.
you to believe or to think of and take with you, if you will, when you are dealing with other human entities, when a frustration begins to arise in your interaction with these entities,
Yes.
what is the very first indicator that comes to you that you are beginning to become frustrated? What is the sign of this?
A sign of this is the word to describe it would be aggravation, and it would be like an internal, not anger, because that's more of a more angry. I hate to use that word. It's more of a stronger emotion. That's the word I'm looking for. When you get frustrated, which I will be honest, I do a lot with my autistic son. It's more like you have less of a tolerance, and you just want to move on quicker.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. In this idea of frustratedness,
Yes.
is there a concept within your own self that will allow you to catch this frustration in the moment and be able to observe this? Or is it happening in such a rapid pace that it is not perceivable?
In the past, it would not be perceivable, but because it would happen so quickly. But as part of my evolution, or whatever you want to call it, self-awareness, that's the word I want to use, I've become more aware of when it's happening, that I can take a step back and relax. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I am very appreciative of the answer of this idea. This question is also designed so that you may look into these specific areas for yourself, as well as the reflections with entities that you share your experience with, and all of you will be able to co-create a learning environment of this.
I will tell you one thing: frustration is harder, takes more out of you than releasing the frustration. That's a good way to put it. It requires less energy to not be frustrated than it does to be frustrated. And that's what I've learned.
Yes, this is a very interesting concept, and through the host experience, I am able to perceive exactly what it is that you are speaking of, and being able to experience a similar feeling and specific event in which I am able to perceive of this. It is very greatly appreciated, and I wish to express to you my gratitude for allowing me to connect you in that way.
Absolutely. Anytime you want to know something about us, I'll be more than happy to be your answer.
Yes!
Just ask Rob.
Yes, this is a very great idea as well.
I would be more than happy to do that. If you seriously want to learn more about us, I'd be more than happy to help out, because learning more about us, and as I try to explain it to you, actually helps me understand it more.
Yes, and this is portion of the intent that I have set while asking a question, is so that both of us may learn.
All right, that sounds like it's neat. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. And again, if you ever a question pops into your head, I'm your go-to person. I'll explain it as best I can.
Yes. This is a very great offer and also a great experience that we have been able to co-create with the communication today. And I also wish to express to you my great gratitude and love for this connection. And with these concepts being expressed, I will leave you this day in love and in light, and we will experience each other again very soon.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much.
Yes. Good night.
Good Good afternoon. Bye.